Welcome back. We start off this segment from the stock exchange. And the market was in the green, 0.63% at midday. Let's see what the numbers are saying now as we count down to the sound of the closing gong. My colleague Temple Ashaju is standing by at the trading floor. Good afternoon, Temple. The market made a surprise close on Thursday and continued that rebound today at intraday. Now, what is driving those positive sentiment there? And is the indicator still green at this time?
Absolutely, indicator still green. What is driving this sort of sentiment we're seeing is Dangote Cement has brought some good traction back to the market. Even though the fundamentals are not looking too good, we still have the absence of the positive one-off catalysts. The political tension is all around the corner. We still know that the risk of sentiment in the global market is playing out. But Dangote has been able to weather the storm for investors. In early trades, the market, the Dangote stock itself, or Dangote Cement stock, was up by 10%, and that has been sustained through the midday trading that we're seeing. But bearing any major significant sell-off or profit taking on Dangote Cement today, I think the market is going to end up upbeat, because earlier on, you reported a 0.6 something percent, but a few minutes ago when we checked, it was actually 1.3% that we saw in terms of the movement in the all share index. It's still hanging around the 35,000 psychological line. And in terms of the volume of trades, we've seen increase by about 30% in terms of volume of trades this afternoon. And investors have also exchanged about 300 million units of shares for about a value of 300 billion naira. So that's what we're saying right now, and Dangote is driving it. We also see that consumer goods has also inched up in terms of sectoral analysis now. The consumer sector is up by about 0.09%, about 0.10% basically. And given what we have right now, the market is likely to end up in the green zone when it closes in the next few minutes.
Temple, are we likely to see this positive sentiment continue into next week?
That's hard to say at the moment. Yes, there are a couple of events that we're expecting next week, some data to be released. The Q2 GDP data is to be released next week, Monday. We also know that International Breweries will be launching its a new plant that is located in southwest Nigeria, and of course we will be having the payment of dividends by Zenith Bank next week. These three major events are expected, but investors have already priced in all of this. But given the sort of sentiments that we are seeing in the global market, it's hard to say if the market will retain this level of sentiment. Remember that Dangote Cement is market leader by total value, by capitalization in this market. So whenever it moves in any direction, the market has a way of moving in that direction too. Yes, this afternoon we've seen movement in consumer goods, we've seen a bit of movement in oil and gas sector as well, which are all positive. But without the kind of impact that Dangote Cement has been able to keep on this market, this movement in the oil and gas sector, as well as other sectors that have been positive, wouldn't have been able to drive that. So if Dangote Cement continues to move upward next week, then the market will continue to sustain that momentum. If otherwise, then it will continue to react to what is going on, the sell-offs in the banking system, and the sell-off that we're seeing generally around the corner, as well as the risk of sentiment in the global markets.
When Dangote Cement coughs, the market shakes. Thank you very much for your time, Temple. And young people are returning to farms in South Sudan to empower themselves through food production. In Bo, a vocational center is teaching aspiring farmers new technologies and skills to help them produce high-yield food crops. The country has been devastated by conflict since 2013, which has left the agricultural sector struggling to feed the nation.
On a 7-acre plot of the Hanbit Agriculture Research Center in Bo, South Sudan, young farmers are learning new skills meant to equip them to run a profitable farm business. The 3-month course is being offered at a vocational center supported by Korean peacekeepers. With the ongoing rainy season, the students have been able to witness their crops grow healthy and have even harvested some produce.
It's something good because the knowledge that we have acquired here, we are going to do it there in the community. Because when we will be delivered here, we are going to open up our farms, we dig and we cultivate our crops. Therefore, if we sold those crops, we are going to earn money. And that is the self-employment.
The students are trained on how to grow a variety of crops, including maize, celery, and cucumbers, among others. The young East African country won independence from Sudan in 2011, but in December 2013 slid into civil war after a dispute between President Salva Kiir and his former deputy, Riek Machar. South Sudan has been devastated by conflict since, which has ruined the agriculture sector, forcing the country to rely on food imports and food aid. Almost 2/3 of the population will need food aid this year to stave off starvation and malnutrition blamed on famine, according to aid groups.
Now we are farmers. We planted some crops that gave us a good yield. It's not like before. The peacekeepers have really helped us here in South Sudan. In this training, we can help develop South Sudan. Each of us will go and farm in different villages and counties to help build the country.
Korean peacekeepers who have been deployed to Jonglei as road engineers say the Hanbit farm aims to promote new technology in agriculture in the country.
Conflict only brought poverty, but agriculture can bring welfare of the people. And also, the current situation is different from the time of conflict. You can see that the communities are now working together here in Hanbit. So it's a sign that working together as a community through agriculture can eradicate conflicts and hunger at the same time.
Students learn technologies like irrigation that enable them store and use rainwater to cultivate crops. They also learn to set up greenhouses and use them to grow crops.
And with that, we wrap up today's edition of the program and, of course, for the week. Thank you very much for being part of it. I'm Chimeze Obi. You're welcome.